Hello everyone, a warm welcome to you, and it's time for the 2-week roundup. We tend to change the background every couple of weeks, and this time we're in the forest. I don't know which forest, but we're somewhere on Earth, I presume. But before we come to the top 6, where we rank the games I've reviewed in the last 2 weeks in some sort of crazy order, and you either agree or disagree, let's have a look at the pinball tables we've reviewed this time round. Now, I have been going through the Pinball Arcade up to Season 4, and I really wanted to start Season 5, but something has happened with the Pinball Arcade and Farsight Studios. Season 5 seems to have stagnated, only the first 3 tables have been released, and I don't want to pay for a whole season if they're not actually going to release all the rest of them. I don't really know what's going on there. So we've gone back to Zen Pinball 2, and these aren't recreations of real tables, they're fantasy tables, but Zen Studios do an absolutely awesome job and push it to the limits. I bought the Aliens vs Pinball pack, which consists of 3 tables. I reviewed 2 tables in this 2-week gap, and we'll review the last one in the next 2-week roundup. But the first one was Aliens, yes. And it takes real sound bites from the actual Aliens film from, I think, 1992 or thereabouts, maybe a bit before actually. Starring Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, a sequel to the original Aliens, and this is probably, well, it's one of my favourite films of all time really, Alien and Aliens, probably Alien in particular. Essentially it recreates different modes from the film, including my favourite one as they cut the lights, but recreates missions from the actual movie, including Find Newt and so forth. It's quite an intuitive game. The ball's a little bit lighter than the Pinball Arcade, so if you're used to playing that ones, these ones feel a bit different. But this tale is absolutely awesome, has a moving Ellen Ripley equipped with a flamethrower and also a massive alien in the back. So if you haven't checked it out already, please look at my review of that one. Also as well, the same pack, £7.99 in English money for 3 tables, and that's quite good value, was Aliens vs Predator. Now, I don't really like these films as much, and this table isn't quite as good as Aliens in my opinion, but it's still quite nice. Basically, there's a fight between the Predators and the Aliens. Essentially, the Predator in the story, I think, were using the Aliens for hunting. They get their eggs, plant them somewhere, and humans would no doubt get stuck in the middle of this carnage. Yeah, it's alright. A number of different modes. I didn't unlock too many, actually, in my review of it, but check that one out as well. The last table we'll be reviewing is Alien Isolation, which is basically based on the video game, rather than any films, Alien Isolation, where you control Amanda Ripley. I've got that somewhere, but I haven't reviewed it as of yet. No doubt I will do soon. So, yep, let's look at the top 6 then. Now, there's been a few mediocre games this time. Yeah, that's just the way it works out. When you try and review everything ever come out ever on the systems, you're going to hit a patch of bad games and mediocre games. Quite a few this time, actually, though. Anyway, so how do we rank them? In 6th place, yep, it was a Street Fighter on the Commodore Amiga, published by Go and US Gold in 1988, and based on the arcade cabinet, which was quite good. Now, the problem that the 16-bit version has of Street Fighter is it's so very, very slow. You do a move, and then a few seconds later, the character might do it or not. It looks like someone did comment, are you sure this isn't a Commodore 64 game, Nick? Well, it does look a bit 8-bit-ish. Street Fighter 2 was to come a bit later, but again that isn't a very good conversion on the Commodore Amiga, but heaps better than this original Street Fighter. You control Ryu, who still exists in the modern day Street Fighter games. You must go around the world beating everyone. It's about 4 different countries, about 2 characters in each one I think, but it's not very good and it's not very good fun. Not much more I can say about it really. And in 5th place is a sequel on the ZX Spectrum, Beachhead 2, The Dictator Strikes Back. I don't know why he strikes back. Again by US Gold in 1985, so US Gold comes 6th and 5th here. Well done. Now the first game, Beachhead, which I've reviewed before, was quite good. A series of missions, a bit of nostalgia there, it fitted really well. Beachhead 2 seems like a bit of a cash-in, and the levels aren't quite as good. 5 different modes, well, mini games I should say, although the first 3 do slightly blend into each other, and they just last a bit too long and they're not very exciting. Basically, an aircraft first of all with colour bleed into the background launches some parachuters. They then run behind walls. You climb over the walls and must blow up a gun turret to get to the next stage, and then must rescue hostages. I wasn't very good at playing this game, and it wasn't very exciting. It was a little bit boring, so it really tested me on the commentary to try and get this to any level of entertainment. I might have done it, but that's quite debatable. And in 4th place, an arcade conversion, again on the ZX Spectrum. It was a GEMINI Wing by Virgin Mastertronic in 1989. So 3 games from the 80s there. Now, vertical shooters on the Spectrum quite often have a major flaw, and that's trying to see the enemies moving at speed and the fire. The colours do tend to blend together sometimes and they're not very careful. Some vertical shooters, the coders have been more successful than others, and in this one, the 48K version I reviewed, it is tricky. Now, as a kid, no doubt you developed what I call ZX Spectrum eyes, where you get used to the background and you wouldn't thought it was a problem. I certainly had it as a kid playing a Flying Shark, which I've also reviewed as a kid. It seemed a lot easier than revisiting it about 20-25 years later as an adult. So, you know, a bit of nostalgia has to come into it. But I found this one particularly tricky, and that's why it comes in 4th place. I will be reviewing it on the Commodore Amiga at some point, so be interested to see how that compares. So, the bottom 3, 6th place Street Fighter on the Commodore Amiga by US Gold in 1988. 5th place Beachhead 2, The Dictator Strikes Back on the ZX Spectrum 48K in 1985. And in 4th place, again on the ZX Spectrum, GEMINI Wing by Virgin Mastertronic in 1989. Yep, so let's come to the top 3. And in 3rd place, quite a fortuitous 3rd place. I think in other 2-week roundups it wouldn't have done it. It's not the most exciting game in the world. It's a Deal or No Deal by Destination Software in 2007. This was a US release based on the TV show Deal or No Deal, but the US version, not the UK version. So you won't see Noel Edmonds, so that's a big plus already. Now, you probably wouldn't play this game too many times because there is no jeopardy. It's based on the TV show, as I mentioned here, where you must open a selection of boxes at random. There is no skill there. At certain points you do get offered money by the banker to try and stop. He tries to buy your box, and the idea is to exit on the most money at the right time. Now, the problem with this game is because there's actually no real money involved, you're going to go to the end regardless each time. So why have I got this in 3rd place ahead of those other 3? Well, it's trying to recreate a TV show Deal or No Deal. Does it do that? Yes. The TV show isn't that exciting. Is this game that exciting? Well, not really. Maybe it's good the first time. So could it have been any better for the subject matter? No. So although it's a dull game, the creators have recreated Deal or No Deal. Well, the other 3 before that, the shoot 'em up, the fighter and the minigame, they could have been better. So that's why it grabs 3rd place. In 2nd place, that was on the Game Boy Advance, that one, if I didn't mention it. On 2nd place, we up a notch now, it's Alien 3 on the Commodore Amiga by Virgin Interactive in 1992. Come out the same year as the film, so 2 Aliens games in this 2-week roundup, Pinball and this. It's very, very difficult, so I played it with a cheat on, but you control Ellen Ripley in a skinhead mode, running around a colony blasting aliens. Now, my one gripe with this is, apart from it being very, very difficult, it doesn't really follow the plot of Alien 3 the movie. It's a bit like the makers of the game knew what Ellen Ripley looked like in this film, but didn't know anything to do with the plot. Because the film, there's only one alien and no weapons. The game, loads and loads of aliens and lots of weapons. But as a game, it's an exploration game. Go up and down ladders, trying to explore different mazes, and then eventually get out to the exit point. Really, really difficult, but looks quite nice. So that's why I put it in 2nd place, and quite atmospheric too. So what does that leave in 1st place this week? Well, it's head and shoulders above the other 5 in my opinion. I normally wouldn't have reviewed this game. It's on the Game Boy Advance, but it did come through a recommendation. It's a bit Japanesey, and I tend to shy away from the Japanese games for some reason I do not know. But this was Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure by Banpresto in 2006. It's a platform game. It moves a bit like Metal Slug Advance, which I also had ranked as #1 on another week. But yeah, it's very mad. You control a character called Goku in his early years, and through different levels it explores how he got his original power. must collect Dragon Balls at the end, and a Nimbus cloud he flies on certain levels, but it is varied. I don't know what the hell's going on in the storyline. It's completely and utterly mad. The music's really good, and it did appeal to me. So that was quite a good game. I was quite surprised. I was expecting to have some sort of mess of a game, but it was pretty good. So rounding up the top 3, it was a third place, Deal or No Deal Somehow on the Game Boy Advance by Destination Software in 2007. Second place, Alien 3 with the great Ellen Ripley in by Virgin Interactive in 1992. And first place, Game Boy Advance again, Dragon Ball Advance Adventure by Bam Presto in 2006. The Formula 1 Blundering series is still going strong. I think we've only got about 4 weeks left, so it's getting quite close there, so continue watching that. I love your support. And yeah, thanks for watching the videos as always in general. Love your comments that come in, really appreciate it. It keeps the channel alive and it creates discussion, and that's the whole point of the channel. Anyway, okay, thank you, and please take care of yourself. Have a great weekend, and until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.